I want to give all praises to the Most High Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His Son, who is Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of GMS. I was reading this, I'm going to play this clip, right, of this, there's this woman who is she's a Democrat, right? She's a well-known Democrat. Her name is Naomi Wolf. So she's got a bunch of books out. She does all kinds of cameo appearances and whatnot. So there's this thing that's trending called Biden regret or buyer's remorse. Because, Jake did all this crying about Trump, and they cried and cried for Biden. You had all these Democrats run out and vote for Biden. And now a lot of them are starting to speak out against his policies. They're like, listen, this dude's only been in office for a month, and he's done this, this, and this, and this, right? So you're going to hear. So she went on it was a big thing, I guess, that this woman went on the Tucker Carlson show. And so as you see here in this clip, she's talking about this is totalitarianism unfolding before our eyes, right? And so what I thought about was the story in the book of Samuel, where Samuel had appointed his sons, right, to rule after him. And it was disappointing that he knew that his sons were they were in the filthy lucre, they were taking bribes, okay? They weren't the right people to lead, right? And so what was even more disappointing is that the people and the elders, they kept saying, give us a king to rule over us, right? Even though they knew, they were like, we want a king that's like all the people. And there's a distinction. When I was looking into the study guide here in the book of Samuel, and it was talking about a distinction between a king and a judge, right? A judge is somebody that's appointed by the Most High. A king, is basically somebody that assumes power and, keeps the power within the family and passes it down to his descendants. And it could be a blessing or a curse. So, and, there's, roughly paraphrasing, but there's that scripture that, the king is reflective of the people and their spirit at that time. So when Trump got in office, he unleashed that spirit. It brought Esau, Edom out from the shadows. It had everybody polarized against each other, but it also pulled back a veil on a lot of things, right? So what we're seeing in Samuel is that when he went to pray to the Most High, because he was conflicted and disappointed, he knew that his sons weren't the right people for it to rule over Israel. And it was even worse that the elders kept asking. They're like, give us a king, right? They're like, give us a king that's like all the people. They wanted a king that was like the people, just like Jake running around here now. And Joe Biden, his slogan is finally a president for all the people. It's this, I swear it's the same exact thing. But then, so what happens is the Most High responds to Samuel and says, go ahead and give the people exactly what they want. So then in the book of Samuel in chapter 8, when you go down to about 14 on down, it starts talking about the Most High was like, okay, let's give these people what they want. Let's give Israel the king to rule over him. But this is all the stuff that he's going to do. And it starts saying, like at verse 14, he will take your fields, your vineyards, and your olive yards, and the best of them, even, and give them to his servants. And he will take a tenth of your seed of your vineyard and give to his officers, to his servants. He will take your men servants, your maid servants, and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take a tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And here's the most important part. This is what made me, when I heard the video clip and what you're going to hear, this is what I heard in verse 18. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day.
power and government power, which is really characteristic of Italian fascism in the 20s, and they're using that to engage in kind of emergency orders that simply strip us of our rights to property, rights to assembly, rights to worship, and all of the rights that our Constitution guarantees. So people are definitely horrified and noticing. I think people are shocked and divided, as I mentioned before. And the other thing that happened is, you said this has all been very sudden. And when you look back, March of 2020, a lot of things started to move that kind of locked into place a set of policies that are kind of 360-degree full-on totalitarian policies. So I think a lot of us are kind of in culture shock. Luckily or unluckily, I've been studying closing democracies for 12 years. So I recognized early on, once I realized New York State had emergency powers, I know from history that no one gives up emergency powers willingly. They always drag it on and drag it on. And so every month I'm getting in my email an announcement that Governor Cuomo is extending emergency measures. Only from studying history do I know how predictable it is when you start to have elected officials say, we are not going to follow the Constitution because there's a pandemic. And I just want to say, lastly, and then I promise I'll stop, nowhere in the Constitution does it say all this can be suspended if there's a bad disease. We have lived through typhus, cholera, smallpox, HIV, tuberculosis, polio, the Spanish flu. We've lived through an attack on our soil. Never have there been months and months and months of emergency powers when we weren't actually fighting a war. So this is completely unprecedented. Lockdowns have never been done before in free societies, and really we're turning into a version of a totalitarian state sort of before everyone's eyes. And I really hope we wake up quickly, because history also shows that it's a small window in which people can fight back before it's too dangerous to fight back.
And so the moral of the story is there ain't no playing around with the Most High, man. You people, there ain't no remorse. No, you people got what you asked for, and you get exactly what you attract. Okay, everybody, you running around being demons and Black Lives Matter, and you're gonna get Black Lives Matter. You want to act Black Lives Matter, you're gonna get Black Lives Matter. And this is Ecclesiasticus 10:2. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So Babylon the Great is fading. It is dying a slow death. It can't be healed. And everything that you see, that if any appearance of anything coming back to normal, is nothing more than smoke and mirrors and distraction. And when you look at Joe Biden, when you look at how shriveled up and creepy and weepy he is, that's a reflection of the spiritual well-being of America. Joe Biden is a reflection, is a mirror reflection of the state of America. Creepy, freaky, sleepy, weepy, and ready to fall over.